Hello, welcome to this video. So in this one we're going to be talking all things DX7 and specifically all things free for DX7. So obviously DX7, a classic FM synth from the 80s, one of those synths that nobody could work out how to program, so it was all about the presets. And there are literally thousands of presets on the good old interwebs that you can find for either software versions or hardware. So I'm going to be looking at how we can load those in to a software version which is free, and also the Volca FM which we've got down here, and then also over in my modular rack over there, which I'll change the camera over on in a minute, how you can load DX7 patches into the Plaits module from Mutable Instruments, assuming you've got that. So hopefully it covers all bases. We've got a little bit of hardware, a little bit of software. So yeah, I mean obviously the DX7 was notoriously difficult to program. Nobody understood it when it first came out. FM synthesis, I mean I still struggle with FM synthesis. If I don't keep doing it regularly, I forget how to use it. And about a year ago, I've had my Volca FM a year and a bit now, and I got really into it last year, and I've not used it for about 6 months, and I turned it on today and I can't remember how to use the damn thing, so I've got to rework that a little bit more, which is why kind of the DX7 stuff is all about the presets. So let's put these on so I can hear what I'm doing, and we'll switch over to this screen. So we're going to deal with the software version first of all of a DX7, and obviously you can make your own patches on this. So it's a 6 operator FM thing, very similar to I believe a DX7, and this is called Dext, okay, which is this thing here. I will put a link to this in the description, but this is the website where you can get it from for free. And you can load your own DX7 patches into this, obviously make your own. I've just got it at the moment connected up to my complete control down here, so that's a lovely noise. And these are some of the ones that come with it. Okay, some nice sounds in there, some nice classic DX7 stuff. And so the first thing we'll have a look at doing is where to actually get some presets from. And this is, again, I'll put links to all these in the description. This is a brilliant website. It's called DX6, catchy name, and you've got thousands and thousands of presets on here. To be honest, I've never used DX7. As I understand it, I might be wrong, I don't know, but I think they load the presets loaded in via a cartridge that had 32 presets on it. I think I might be wrong, but that's kind of what I'm working on the basis of. So these are all the different categories. I mean, you've got, straight away, look, you've got some Brian Eno patches. So if you click on those and then you go down here and you can download the sysx file, which I'll talk about how to do with that later. And on some of these, you get loads and loads. So I think this Jack Deckard one is one I've been looking at, which I won't download again because I've already got it. If I just get that folder up for you, I've got a DX7 folder here. And I'm kind of working my way downloading all of these. So this is that Jack Deckard folder, and you've got all of these sysx files, right, in different, bass, brass, hops, and whatever. And each one of these has 32 presets on it. So that folder alone, you can see, has got an absolute ton of presets on it. So there is a load of stuff out there, and you can also then, which again I'll put a link to this in the description, you can make your own banks. I've made my first bank, which I'm going to put up on my Patreon. If people want that, but using this, and again, like I said, I'll put this into a link to this in the description. So this is basically a bank editor that you can use to then either download the sysx file or upload this to your Plaits module if you've got Plaits. This is kind of designed for this. Okay, so first of all, let's have a look at how we can get some of those sysx files and those banks and stuff that we've downloaded from the internet into the software version of Dext. So I am, obviously you can make your own on here. You've got all the operators and algorithms and stuff down here. If you know what you're doing with that, then go for it and make your own stuff. But I've downloaded a few for this already. So if you want to load in new, it's kind of like a new cartridge, which is a bank of 32 patches, you're going to click on cart, and it comes with, I think this original download had bank, this one, and this one. So let's say I want to load in bank 000. I'm going to double click on that, and it's going to load it in down here. So that's the first patch. and so on. As you click on those, you can go through those. Now you can sort of mix and match different cartridge banks together. So let's say I take some of these Res Bank ones and I want this one. I can just drag and drop it on whichever one I want. That's a nice little sound there. Okay, so you can kind of make your own banks, and then you can then save them if you want, which will come up, bring this dialog box up here. You can then save them as a sysx file. The important thing to remember when you're saving these is save them without any gaps in your name, because I saved this ResBank one off the online patch editor I mentioned earlier, and I had a gap, a space between res and bank and one, and it wouldn't show up in the directory. So make sure you've got no spaces in there. So if you click on show directory, this is where all your preset bank cartridge things will live. So if I double click on that, so that is where I saved that res bank one. So if you stick them all in there, it will show up in here when you go onto that bit. So let's load my res bank in, because this is the one I'm going to stick up on Patreon for people. So there's a few pianos, and I just put some random sounds in, so you can kind of hear all those. Okay, so that's how you're going to get your sounds into Dext. And I just clicked the wrong button. I'm going to close that. So close it down there, and that gets you back to the interface. Then obviously you've got all your controls on here, and you can mangle up your sounds and so on. So let's have a look at how we would actually download then some of these sounds and get them into the thing itself. So I think I've already talked about the let me get the thing up, downloading them from here. So let's just download another one. Actually no, I won't download one, I'll do one I've already downloaded. So let's say I want to get another one of those Jack Deckard ones in. So we click cart, and then we're going to click load, and it will bring up a normal window browser. I've got this on my desktop. I've got a DX7 folder somewhere there. Click on Jack Deckard, open that, and then all of these. So let's try Bells 3. We'll open that. Okay, and it's now populated it in here. So we can now... Okay, so if I want to save that into here, I'm going to save it again. This will bring up a new dialog box here. Let's call it Bells 3. And it should be there. I think you need to close it and reopen it for it to show up. I think you need to restart the whole software for it to show up. Let's just check that, because that's kind of a thing that may throw a few people off if stuff's not showing up. Let's try that. So let's restart it. Okay, open up the cartridge, and it's not there. Why not? Right, okay, that's why, because I just saved it as Bells 3 and not bells3.sysx. So let's rename that. I mean, it's good to leave these mistakes in because it's easily done. So we need to go .syx, because it's not recognising it as a sysx file. So hopefully, if we close that and reopen it, let's just shut the thing down again. But like I say, I don't mind leaving these things in because, you know, it might help somebody. Right, hopefully it'll be there this time. Okay, and there it is, Bells 3 sysx 6. So make sure you put that on the end. Okay, so that's how you're going to get your patches in and out of Dext. So we're going to use Dext to send those patches as well out to the Volca FM. So I've got the Volca FM connected up to the computer via just a USB. It's a Roland UM1 USB to MIDI interface. So it's just got the USB in the computer, and it's just plugged into the MIDI in on the Volca FM. So again, you've got to just double check all your options. So we're going to go audio MIDI settings. Make sure your MIDI output is the one you want to use. So I've got UM1 there. And also we need to go on parameters here and check that you're using the correct output here and the correct MIDI channel. Okay, so I'm sending it to UM1, sending it out on MIDI channel 15 because that is what my Volca FM is set to. So I'm not sure if you can hear that. I think I've got that plugged in. Okay, so at the moment I've got the patch I'm on at the moment. Let's just go around to patch 1. which basically sounds like that. Okay, so that should change when I send it out to the Volca FM. So the way to send it out is dead simple. We're going to open cart. I'm going to send out Bells 3, so I'm just going to right click on that, send Sysx cartridge to DX7. It will do its thing, and it's now changed on here. So now program 1 is now the bell. So I'm playing these off the Volca. Okay, so I've now got all those lovely bell sounds on the Volca FM, and it works with any. Bear in mind that it will overwrite everything on the Volca, so make sure you like save stuff off. I'm not going to go through that in this video. I'm sure you'll be able to find out how to do that, but it will overwrite any of your patches, so you need to do a backup of those before you send it in. So that's dead simple. That's a really easy way of getting DX7 patches onto your Volca FM to make it even more like a mini DX7. So the other thing then we're going to have a look at doing is how we would put this onto the Plaits module from Mutable Instruments. Now I'm not sure if this works on let me get this bank editor. I'm not sure if this works on the clones of Plaits or not, because I've not tested it. I've not got one, but it works really well on the Plaits module, and then you can turn your modular into a bit of a DX7. So first thing we're going to do is we can use this FM patch bank editor to make our banks. So here we're going to import the files. So let's say I'm going to bring one of these Jack Deckard ones in. So let's do base 4. Okay, and it's brought those in, and down here, this is the bank I've opened up, and this is my bank here. Okay, you got 32 in here. Now, if you want to get rid of some of these, you're just going to drag and drop them down here, and it will make these slots free. If we click play up here, and you hover over these, let me just change my sound settings so you can hear this. There we go. And if you hover over, you should be able to, you will hear what they sound like. So you can like go through these and say, okay, I want that, don't want that one, we'll dump that one, I want that, don't want that, and so on. If we then open another patch, so let's open, I don't know, whatever that is. It will open this one as well. Let's close the first one. So then I can drag some of these in here, and this is how you sort of make your own custom bank of sound. Okay, so it's dead easy. Okay, you're just doing that. Let's just fill it up. Okay, and it's going to populate all that in there. Ooh, that's a horrible sound. Okay, let's stop that from playing now, because when you put your cursor over it, it plays. So once you've got your bank set up here, what you can do is, let's move that out of the way. You can download it. Now, just downloading it like that will download it as a WAV file, which I'll talk about in a minute, or you can download it as a Sysx file. So obviously, if you want to put it in the Dext software, you need to download the Sysx file. You'd click on that, and you get your usual download thing, and you can name it in here. Make sure you save it as a SYX, a Sysx file, and you're good to go. So for getting it into the Plaits module, in fact, I probably don't need to change the cameras around for this. I can just kind of talk you through what you're doing. It tells you what to do here. So basically what you're going to do, the easiest way is if you're going to play it straight from your computer, just take an audio output from your computer, and you're going to put it into the Plaits, into the, as it says just here, into the timbre input. Okay, which is, I think, on the second one along. Yeah, so it's the second row up, second one along, the one that's next to model. And you've got to make sure that your Plaits is set to one of the 3 6-operator FM models, which is on the latest firmware update. So if you've not got that, you need to get the firmware update. So you've got the 3 banks of stuff, because you've got the original 2 banks, and then you've got the new third lot of banks. So if you put it on one of those, which I believe is the models, let me check my notes, it's model 3, 4 and 5, any of those on the new settings, that's going to be the new orange coloured banks, then you'll be able to load it into this. So all you'll do is you'll take an output from your computer, plug it into there. I find it works best if you put your computer on full volume, so whack it right up so it's getting a good signal. And then as you play that, it will automatically recognise that as like a WAV file thing, and the lights on the banks will start at the top. First one will be green, and it'll light up, and when it's done all 8, they'll do a little dance, and then you should be good to go. And then you can scroll through the 32 presets using the harmonics knob. Let me just check that's the right one. Yeah, the harmonics dial, if you just do it, turn it a little turn each time, will go through those presets. And I'll kind of just demonstrate that, I think, in a second. I'll just change the cameras around and just show how you do that. So let's do that now. Okay, I'm going to hopefully not give you too much motion sickness with this bit. But I've just got a sequence going. I've got the Deluge hooked up to my Plaits module. Let me just sit down a sec. I've got a MIDI to CV converter over here, and then that's going into Plaits. So I've just got this basic sequence playing, and you'll hear it as I turn around the harmonics dial. You'll hear it change from the different patches. So yeah, hopefully that was. Let's go back to this camera, so we don't need that screen. Yeah, so you can see it's just a tiny little turn, because what you got to think is there's 32 little notches as that goes round on that one dial, and then the timbre dial kind of changes the brightness and does some weird stuff, and the morph is kind of like an envelope, so it goes really short and snappy over to the left, and if you go around to the right, it gives it that much longer, nicer sound. And you've obviously got 3 banks there where you can fit on 32 on each, so you can have just on those 3 banks 60 or 96 DX7 patches. What's not to like? And it's all free. I mean, it's brilliant. So hopefully that makes sense. I've covered quite a lot of stuff in there. It might be one of these videos you need to rewatch a couple of times. But if anyone's got any problems, then just stick a comment in the box below, and I'll do my best to help. I can't promise I'll always be able to help out, but I will. If I know the answer to something, I will give you the answer, because why not? So usual things, like, subscribe. If you want to help support the channel, then there is a thing down here where you can support me on Patreon. I'm going to put this bank of my first res bank of patches on there, so if you want those, you can have those if you're on tier 1 and above, or you could just make your own for free. It's entirely up to you. So have fun DX7ing and make some lovely 80s sounding music with it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.